Greetings, everyone. I am Dr. Wolf, and I just saw The Point of No Return. And yeah, every time I see that title, I can't help but think, past the point of no return, the final threshold. I don't know if that was intentional, but that's what I always think of. Oh, goodness. Anyway, this was an episode written by Gm Barrow. And she's done episodes like Fluttershy Leans In, Daring Done, Granny's Gone Wild, The End and Friend. And yeah, I can see that Point of No Return fits with that style of those previous episodes. There isn't that much that you can't see coming from a long ways off. And yeah, much of what she writes is low-key slice of life, nothing too exciting, most of the time. And yeah, trying to return an overdue library book, you'd think that you wouldn't be able to stretch out a story like that for too long. But I do like a number of things that were presented here. I do like especially the lesson. But we'll get into that. First of all, hey, we get to see Derpy again. We get to hear Derpy again. Oh goodness, I wasn't expecting that, so that's a plus. I have to imagine that, given that this is the final season, the writers and animators are trying to include all of the fan favorite characters from the entirety of the show. Because later on, we get to see the return of Moon Dancer. She doesn't get to do anything, but yeah, it's great to hear from her again. We get to see Saffron's restaurant. I don't think we saw Saffron, but hey, nice nod to continuity. I even saw Grandpere in the background somewhere. So yeah, lots of little nods to continuity, especially recreating that scene from the very first episode. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. Did she actually throw a book away? It would make so much sense that they built an entire episode based off of this tiny bit from the very first episode. I have to wonder if that might have been the writing process, that somebody was watching episode 1 and said, we can make an entire story around that. Probably makes sense that way. Anyways, I was also surprised to see G1 Star Swirl. Bit of a hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the audience there, because I doubt any of the kids are gonna get that. It would have been funnier if they actually had the figurine in the G1 style. That would have completed the joke, but it's good enough. I also very much enjoyed Twilight showing her library card, and it kind of looks like a driver's license photo. I mean, what was she doing there? What kind of face is that? And even more so when the new librarian basically is talking about shame. Shame. And of course, Twilight thinks of it as abandon hope, all ye who enter here. And going across a montage of different scenes, goodness, they really had to pad out the runtime when Twilight was going to all these different places and knocking on doors and getting nods from ponies. It's a really short subject matter trying to return an overdue library book. And yeah, Twilight being Twilight, her twilighting aspect is showing through in spades here. It's funny for a little while, but yeah, we have seen it so many times before, and I don't think they do anything particularly new with it here. And yes, we could all see coming from a mile away that this old librarian does not want to go back to her job. And I was curious, exactly where are the writers going with this? I mean, what is the point of this story? And that's when the strongest element of this episode finally shows. The title of the book, Perfection, the Impossible Pursuit. And suddenly everything clicked with me. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, I really appreciate how they were setting up this lesson. Because it's all about, hey, Twilight has never had an overdue book. She's got this picture in the library itself for being the record holder. And it turns out that the librarian herself, she was trying to hold on to her perfect record. And it wasn't until she failed in that tiny aspect, having that one overdue book, that she finally felt freedom again. And for presenting that kind of lesson in a way that even a little child can understand and yet still feel so relevant to adults. That's wonderful. I love lessons that apply so completely to both the young and old, and I don't suppose any of us are ever going to really take that lesson to heart all the time. It's really difficult to say to yourself, it's okay that it's not perfect. It's okay that I can fail. And as she says, you learn more when you make mistakes. Makes you into a better pony, say a better person. I honestly believe that anyone who has been dedicated to perfection, the longer it goes on, the less fun it is to actually take part in that activity, in that workspace, in your life, that you demand everything to be done just right, even if it's only from yourself. It reaches a point where you have to say, this isn't fun anymore. I'm so obsessed with making something perfect every time that it's taken the joy out of what I'm doing. It may have started out with great passion. It may have been because you want others to see how good you are at something. And yet I would argue, and even this episode's lesson argues, that not only for yourself, but those who follow in you, when you show that you can falter, when you show that perfection is not the be-all, end-all goal, that you're not only teaching yourself something great about life, but even those who may follow in your footsteps. We've seen time and time and time again how Twilight demands that things be done a very certain way. My goodness, you go back to the very earliest episodes in the series and she loses her cool like that when things don't go the way she expects. Lesson 0 comes to mind in particular. Oh wow. That fear of failure, that you can be okay with having that stain in your life. As that book shows, that sometimes it's better that way. Sometimes you learn more that way. And I deeply, deeply appreciate that kind of lesson. Much of this episode, I had fun seeing all the background cameos, seeing return of fan favorites, and laughing at some of the jokes, but the story itself was really not grabbing me. I wasn't sure how they were going to make this really work and seem different from anything they've done before, but that lesson at the end really sealed the deal, really hit me hard. And yes, there is a lot more to like from this episode than just the lesson. For example, throwing around old fruit that looks like they're playing a game of paintball? Holy cow! I never would have thought that ponies would be getting used to something like paintball using fruit, much less senior citizens, but I don't know, they're doing windsurfing, they're playing in a band, they're acting on stage, and oh my goodness, that mask was revealed and the pony, I don't even know how to explain that. That really caught me off guard, holy cow. But some good jokes in here. A weak story, at least until the end, but plenty of really funny moments that kept me engaged. I would put it maybe a step or two above the okay category. The lesson is what really carries it though. I can't think of a lot of reasons why I'd go back and watch it, except for maybe a couple of those really short, funny scenes. But I definitely appreciate the lesson. I absolutely appreciate that. And honestly, I sincerely hope that more people can take that to heart. But then, what do you think? Given all the previous episodes in the series, do you think this episode has anything that will really make it stand out? I think the lesson is truly worthwhile. But does it apply to anything in your life? Or perhaps the lives of those who follow in your example? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Because, as always, I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.